Well, good day, everybody. I'm Russ Reed. I'm the Executive Director of the National Center for the Biotechnology Workforce, and this is SciTech, and we're always excited when we have a local employer that's doing great things. And today we have Virtue Labs, and representing Virtue Labs, we have Bill Jacobsen, and Bill is the head of operations, and we have Dr. Erin Falco, who's the principal investigator. And I want to welcome you guys to SciTech.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to be here.
And Sean Killebrew is at the helm. And Sean, it's always good to see you and hear you. I hope things are going well.
Fantastic on my end, Russ. Good to see you.
Great. Bill, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. I'm Bill Jacobsen. I'm head of operations for Virtue Labs. We have a small production facility here in Winston-Salem, but my background is actually in cell biology. And for the vast majority of my career, I produced or developed processes and then produced therapeutic proteins for some of the big biotech companies, both Genzyme and EMD Serono. So I've been able to parlay that experience into this entrepreneurial endeavor of Virtue Labs.
Excellent. Well, thank you for telling us that. And Dr. Erin Falco. Erin, tell us about yourself.
Hi, I'm Dr. Erin Falco. I have a PhD in chemical and biomolecular engineering. My background is actually in tissue engineering, and I started in the tissue engineering field with our sister company that uses our protein for medical use, and have kind of followed the protein through to the cosmetic side with Virtue.
Excellent. Well, thank you, and welcome both to SciTech. And I know we've been talking about doing this for a long time, so I'm very excited we have you today. Bill, tell us a little bit about Virtue Labs.
So Virtue Labs is a hair care company that actually utilizes a true technology. So the vast majority of hair care companies have their mixtures of ingredients to make shampoos, conditioners, and stylers. But Virtue is very different. We actually came out of the biotechnology field. There's a sister company that has taken Keratin technology to the therapeutic realm for wound injuries, so to treat fallen, soldiers who have injuries, or even now the company has creams for radiation burns associated with treating cancer and things like that. About 9 years ago, we learned that technology, and one of the lab students said, can this be used in hair? So they took it and said, all right, well, let's try it. And basically, we took the processing processes to develop a very unique ingredient. So all the Virtue products have human keratin as an active ingredient in that formulation. And there have been many challenges along the way to get that to work. But Virtue as a company, we've been selling a little over 5 years. We started as a grassroots, who knows who to sell the products, and the company has grown phenomenally well. The product is very, very well accepted. So we have multiple lines of shampoos, conditioners, stylers, treatments. So some masks that are absolutely wonderful. So healing oil that is probably our best-selling product. And all of these have this human keratin that we've developed the processes for to purify and to use in the formulations. And we test to ensure that the actual addition of this protein does have a beneficial effect on the surface of the hair. Virtue is about 50 people at this point. We're scattered all over the place. The headquarters are in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Winston-Salem, North Carolina, we have our production facility. And then we have some limited sales in different parts of the country, but also people spread out. So we truly have a distributed workforce, but the concentration and the highest number of people are split between Raleigh and here in Winston-Salem.
Well, that's a fabulous description, Bill. Thank you for saying that and giving us a very good perspective on Virtue Labs here in Winston and the bigger organization. And very interesting to see how, as you said, it's widely distributed. Erin, tell us about human hair and keratin.
So keratin is a large structural protein that's found in hair, skin, and nails. It's very readily found in the body, And interestingly enough, it's a protective protein that the body has really found a way to live with and cope with. The body doesn't break it down, and it's very beneficial. Human hair specifically is 91% of this keratin protein. And so when we were looking at the technology, looking at its uses in hair, when you damage hair, hair is dead tissue. So it has no way to repair itself if something happens. So we were looking at, if we extract this protein, we keep it structurally functional, can we actually repair the damage in a way that nothing else is able to?
Thanks, Erin. You guys gave me a little anatomy lesson when I visited you, and maybe for the benefit of the people that'll be watching this, is hair alive or is it dead once it passes through the scalp?
So once hair is through the scalp, it is a dead tissue. It has no mechanism to repair itself or heal any damage that could happen from heat, chemicals, or environment.
So your keratin is kind of a magic remedy back to the hair.
Yes. Well, not all keratins. So there are a lot of cosmetic keratins in the market that are proteins that are hydrolyzed, which means they are broken down into small amino acids and peptides. And if you know anything about proteins, they don't spontaneously recreate into the correct structure and function once they've been denatured. So the benefit of a hydrolyzed, denatured, or broken down protein is not the same as something that you extract and keep structurally functional.
So your secret sauce.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Bill, getting back to the structure and the organization that you have, what kind of workforce are you looking for in terms of knowledge, skills, and abilities?
So the workforce is actually pretty varied. So within the organization, we probably have 6 or 7 different functional groups. So we have the manufacturing group, and I'll go into basically a little bit about identify each group and then what the skill sets are for each of those. We have manufacturing, we have quality control, which actually tests the product and intermediates. We have quality assurance that guides the process with documents and works on release and evaluation of the whole process to say, do we have a good product at the end of that? We have shipping, receiving, we have purchasing, and there's maintenance mixed in there a little bit with a few others, calibration. Some of these are internal, some of these are external, but for the manufacturing realm, we're looking for people who may have experience working in an environment where you've worked with tanks, with chemicals, with and are familiar and is not intimidated by looking at a tank and saying, well, what do you have to do with that? College graduates are also a very good source. They're new. It's a good skill they can learn, whether it's long-term or not is, obviously solely up to them. But we have hired people from directly out of school. We've hired people from paint facilities, from woodworking facilities, people that have, worked on the line from exercise companies. It's very varied. I mean, I think the main attributes of any of the people that we have here is that they're willing to learn, they're willing to contribute, be part of a bigger team. And we all have our roles, but we all cover for each other at the same time. So there's a really, it's a very small, we have 20 to 25 people, and everybody relies on each other, and all of these different groups are interrelated. So the manufacturing backgrounds could be anything from a GED or less, all the way up to a BS. I mean, I think a master's or a PhD person will get bored fairly quickly. Quality control is usually a degree type environment. You've got a lot of the analytical and chemistry background there. It's not that people aren't trainable, but the science background certainly helps tremendously in that. Purchasing, same background as the and shipping and receiving, or the same background as the manufacturing staff. Quality assurance of somebody who has worked in the field before and worked in a regulated environment. So we follow good manufacturing practices, which say you have to be able to control all the different aspects of your process and have practices and policies for each of those areas. So all the areas that I mentioned, manufacturing, QC, QA, shipping, receiving all have documents and procedures that say this is how we do this, and we track that progress from one end to the other. So we can have a very varied workforce, but I think really the keys are willingness to work, willingness to be a part of a good team, learning your core skills, but also helping everybody out wherever help is needed.
Erin, you want to add anything to that?
No, I agree with everything you said. I was going to say, there's a lot of opportunity here for cross training where people are learning how the departments interact together because they're all reliant on each other. Manufacturing can produce, but quality needs their product to release, and manufacturing production doesn't really count unless it's released from QC. So everybody here is interdependent regardless of perceived level or skill, and it's a great environment to, being a small company, we have a lot of opportunity to see a lot of different areas that you may not see in a larger company.
Bill, Erin, I've done a lot of these, and Sean will back me up on this. We've probably together done 30 virtual types of SciTechs over the last couple of years because of COVID. But I've got to say that this was in your last question, the way that you guys detailed what it is that people need to have in terms of skill sets and in terms of dependency was probably the best that I've heard yet.
Great.
And
Thank
so it's very consistent also with all our, we have advisory committees, and we like to dialogue with our local employers. And this, these key traits that you've mentioned have come up time and time again. And the two technical skills, if we want, seem to be, being able to do good manufacturing practices and good documentation practice.
Yes, very important.
And just willingness to learn, really. I mean,
eagerness to learn.
I learn every day. Bill learns every day. Everyone in the facility has something to teach someone else, regardless of where they are in their career or where they're starting.
Yeah, this is what really hit me, Erin, is the cross training and the interdependency.
Yeah.
Because you are a team,
yes.
And we hear it nationally. We hear it all the time. The ability to work in teams. And I guess people probably could comment on a lot of factors as to why some people do play well in the sandbox and others don't. But at the end of the day, it's a necessary ingredient, isn't it?
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And I mean, I think the willingness to help out your coworker, realizing that, you can let them sit there and do nothing, sit back and then let them do it. It doesn't help anybody. It's like, all right, let's get in there, let's get it done. We have a couple, the Virtue has a lot of sound values around the company itself, and one is to make sure we always treat others the way you want to be treated, and treat people with dignity, respect. We also, for the local building here, one of my favorite sayings is that we never want to be the rate limiting step for anything that Virtue needs to do. So when push comes to shove, if we need 6 people to help pack something out, we take 6 people from wherever they are and help shipping and receiving. And in turn, shipping and receiving helps in the production floor sometimes. And we also mix it up. We actually have IT in the building also, which I forgot to mention, information technology. We have one of the staff from Virtue that operates out of this facility, which is great. Close-up support, and he actually supports the manufacturing floor as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all interrelated. I mean, I'm on the floor all the time doing the same thing. Erin is as well. Mm-hmm. Research development. It's
looking at samples, helping to clean up if there's an accident, trying to troubleshoot, see what we've got going on. And it's interesting to have different perspectives, because when you're not in the room every day working with chemicals or working with the tanks, or you're not outside of the room talking with the quality results or the documentation, sometimes you can forget and get siloed. And so it's very important to us that everybody is considerate of everything else that's going on, and they don't just kind of end up in their little bubble and forget about what everyone else is doing.
Sounds like Virtue in Winston-Salem has a winning team.
We do. We have an excellent team.
And sometimes when you have a winning team, according to March Madness, you have to have good coaches. So I think you guys must be great coaches. Well, I want to thank Bill and Erin for joining us today on SciTech. I want to thank Sean for being at the helm as usual. And as always, I'd like to thank our sponsors. Cook Medical is a sponsor, and so is the North Carolina Biotechnology Center, so is NC Biosciences, and of course, Carolina Biological, and our foundation at Foresight Tech. And Erin and Bill, if our people want to get a hold of you, is it possible for us just to have your website or some kind of way to contact you should there be an opportunity or something like that to happen? Maybe a
Certainly.
good person.
Yeah, we can provide emails.
Yep. It'd be probably the best way to connect is through email.
Yep.
That would be super.
Great. Well, thanks both of you for coming on board today. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I have to say the funny part now, because for all those people that watch SciTech and get engaged in SciTech, I have been using their product for pretty much now going on 3 months, and I'm getting all sorts of raving reviews, even though I don't have very much hair.
Our product,
okay, it still works.
yes, and our products certainly help the quality of your hair, the feel, and many things that we have literally shown through science that it's a beneficial products.
So mine is mine is a clinical trial of 1, but I can tell you that it works. Thank you very much.
There we go.
Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us again today, and wish you a great day, and all the best with Virtue Labs.
Thank
you very much.